Carol Thompson's face hit the marble floor so hard her teeth rattled. She was 61 years old, minimum wage janitor, 3 kids, 5 grandkids, and the FBI agent kneeling on her back was reading her rights for embezzling $50 million. Carol Thompson, you're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, and theft of pension assets. I clean toilets, she screamed. I don't even know what wire fraud is. But they didn't care, because in her hand, clenched so tight her knuckles had gone white, was a crumpled Starbucks receipt. The small detail she'd found in her billionaire boss's trash. The detail that was supposed to save people. Instead, it got her arrested for crimes she didn't commit. And up on the 42nd floor, Jason Barrow, tech CEO, $2.8 billion, actual criminal, was watching the whole thing on security cameras, smiling, because he'd been setting her up for 14 years. And Carol had just made it perfect by finding the evidence. This is the story of how the invisible woman became the scapegoat, and how that receipt, that stupid coffee receipt, became both the weapon that destroyed her and the key to her revenge. Let me show you how a janitor became the FBI's most wanted. Look, when you're a black woman cleaning offices in Manhattan, you learn real quick. Your furniture that moves. Carol had worked at Barrow Technologies for 14 years. Watched Jason Barrow go from a 20-year-old coding in a cubicle to a Forbes billionaire with a penthouse office. In 14 years, he'd looked at her face exactly twice. Once when she started, "You're Carol? Great, don't touch my desk." Once when she tripped over his briefcase 3 years later. "Watch it." That was it. 14 years. 2 sentences. But Carol saw everything. The affairs executives tried to hide. Hotel receipts in the trash gave them away. The VP stealing from petty cash. Post-it notes are confessions if you read them right. The board member's drug problem. Needles don't flush themselves. Carol knew every secret in that building. But she kept her head down. Not her circus, not her monkeys. Until she noticed something weird about Jason's trash. For the past 6 months, his waste bin had Starbucks receipts. Always late night, 11:30, 11:47, midnight. Always different locations across Manhattan. Always time-stamped when Jason's car was sitting in the executive garage downstairs. At first, Carol thought, rich people do weird rich people things. Whatever. But then she overheard 2 executives in the elevator last week. The SEC is sniffing around. If they find the accounts before we move the money. The doors opened. They stopped talking. But Carol's brain started connecting dots. And Tuesday night, she found the receipt that connected everything. The receipt that destroyed her life in under 24 hours. Tuesday, 11:47 p.m. Carol was emptying Jason's office trash when she saw it. Starbucks receipt. Vinny Caramel Macchiato. Time-stamped 11:47 p.m. Location, 5th and 42nd. She checked her watch, 11:52 p.m. Jason's car, still downstairs. Security logs. He'd never left the building. So how did this receipt get here? Carol looked closer. Mobile order name, C. Thompson. Her blood went ice cold. C. Thompson. Carol Thompson. That was her name. She pulled out her phone, hands shaking, and started photographing receipts. Found 17 more from the past month. All late-night orders. All under C. Thompson. All from times when Carol was home asleep and Jason was supposedly working late. Then she found the sticky note on his desk calendar. Tomorrow's date. Time, 11:30 p.m. Location code, CT Offshore Final. CT, Carol Thompson. Oh my God, she whispered. He'd been using her name. Her identity. But for what? She grabbed her phone and did something that almost got her killed. She Googled her own name with Barrow Technologies. The search results made her knees buckle. SEC investigates Carol Thompson for embezzlement. Employee Carol Thompson under federal review. Barrow Technologies janitor linked to offshore accounts. Articles from financial blogs. Reddit threads. Twitter speculation. All dated within the past 2 weeks. All about her. Carol Thompson, janitor. $14 per hour. Could barely afford groceries. Was apparently hiding $50 million in Singapore. He's framing me, she whispered. And that's when the office lights all turned on at once. Jason Barrow stood in his office doorway. Alone. Not scared. Not surprised. Just disappointed. Carol, he said. like a parent catching a kid sneaking cookies. You've been using my name? Carol's voice shook. Putting crimes under my identity. Using? Jason walked to his desk. Carol, you don't understand business. I've been protecting you. Protecting me? Those offshore accounts. They're in your social security number. Yes. But do you know why? He pulled up his computer. Showed her a screen full of transactions. If the SEC finds this money, someone goes to prison. Me. I have resources. Lawyers. A billionaire in federal prison gets minimum security, out in 3 years. He looked at her. You? Black woman. Working class. Accused of betraying your own coworker's pension fund? You'd get 20 years. But you won't. Because I'm going to make sure they never find out it's you. Carol stared. You're trying to help me? I'm trying to help us both. Look, he showed her another document. A transfer order. Tomorrow night, I move this money one final time. It disappears. Clean. No one ever knows about Carol Thompson, the embezzler. You keep cleaning offices. I keep running my company. Everyone wins. But the articles, the investigation, controlled leaks. I needed to create a paper trail in case the SEC got close. But now that it's done, he deleted something on his screen. It all goes away. We're fine. Carol looked at the receipt still in her hand. At this man who'd ignored her for 14 years. Who'd now built an entire criminal empire under her name. And was asking her to trust him. I need time to think, she said. You have until 11:30 tomorrow night, Jason said. After that, the money moves, and this all disappears. Or, he didn't finish the sentence. But Carol heard it loud and clear. Or he makes sure the FBI finds her first. Wednesday, Carol didn't sleep. She had one receipt with her name on it from a time she was home. She had Google results about herself she'd never seen before yesterday. She had 18 hours before Jason moved the money and erased all evidence. 18 hours to decide. Trust the billionaire who'd been using her as a scapegoat. Or call the FBI and hope they believed a minimum wage janitor over a tech genius. At 10 a.m., Carol made her decision. She called the FBI Financial Crimes Hotline. My name is Carol Thompson. I'm a janitor at Barrow Technologies. And I think my boss has been committing fraud using my identity. The agent, Sarah Chun, believed her. We've had Barrow under surveillance for 8 months, Sarah said. But we can't prove anything. If you're willing to help us tonight. What do you need? Whatever happens at 11:30 p.m. Be there. Record it. We'll be right outside. Carol hung up feeling like maybe, just maybe, she'd made the right call. She showed up to work at 9:45 p.m. Heart pounding. At 11:15, she heard the executive elevator. Jason. 3 men in suits. One carrying a laptop, another with a metal briefcase. They went to the 42nd floor. Carol waited 5 minutes. Took the service elevator up. Crept to Jason's office. Started recording through the crack in the door. Last 50 million transferred. Singapore accounts clean. SEC won't find anything. And the janitor? Jason's voice. I told her to trust me. She will. She's been invisible for 14 years. She doesn't know how to be anything else. They laughed. Carol kept recording. Then the office door opened behind her. A fourth man, one she hadn't seen come up. He grabbed her phone, deleted the recording, and Carol realized she just walked into her own arrest. Quick pause. She trusted the FBI, did everything right, and still got caught. If you were in her shoes, would you have called the FBI like she did, or kept quiet and hoped for the best? Drop it. Because what happened next is the most insane part. Carol didn't even see them coming. 1 second, she was standing in the hallway with no recording and no proof. The next second, the entire 42nd floor exploded with federal agents. FBI. Everybody down. But they weren't surrounding Jason's office. They were surrounding her. Carol Thompson. Hands up. What? No. I called you. I'm the one who reported. You're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering. Her face hit the marble floor. Handcuffs clicked. And through her tears, Carol saw Jason standing in his office doorway. Watching. Not in handcuffs. Watching her in handcuffs. Sarah Chun, the FBI agent she'd trusted, walked past her without looking. Went straight to Jason. Shook his hand. Mr. Barrow, thank you for your cooperation in this investigation. Of course, Agent Chun. I'm just glad we caught her before she could transfer more money. Carol screamed. He's lying. He set me up. Sarah finally looked at her. Miss Thompson, we have 6 months of evidence. Offshore accounts in your social security number. Transactions from your employee login. 17 Starbucks receipts with mobile orders under your name from locations across Manhattan while you claimed to be at work. I was at work. Those receipts are from when I was here. He was using my name. Ma'am, your own phone has Google searches from this morning. How to hide money offshore. Can janitors be extradited from Singapore? Delete financial transaction history. Carol's world tilted. Her phone, the phone that man had grabbed, had deleted her recording, had added searches. Jason walked over, crouched down so only Carol could hear. I told you, he whispered. You should have trusted me. Now you get to be Carol Thompson, the criminal, instead of Carol Thompson, the invisible janitor. At least people will finally remember your name. He stood up, and Carol, face pressed to marble, handcuffs cutting into her wrists, holding a receipt that meant nothing, realized she'd lost. Except, 3 months later, federal courtroom, Carol's arraignment. She'd spent 90 days in jail. Couldn't make bail. Public defender barely looked at her file. Jason Barrow sat in the back row, watching. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the government is prepared to. The courtroom doors burst open. Tom, the security guard from Barrow Technologies. I have evidence, he yelled. Don't let her plead guilty. The judge, sir, this is highly irregular. I have 14 years of security footage. Timestamped. And this. He held up a USB drive. Is every single transaction Jason Barrow made using Carol Thompson's credentials, including the ones he made after her arrest. The courtroom went silent. Tom looked at Carol. You saved my life once. Covered my shift when my daughter was sick. Got me home in time to say goodbye. I don't forget. He'd been watching security feeds for 3 months. Found every moment Jason used Carol's login. Found the paper trail of Jason creating fake Google searches on her phone. Found footage of Jason's business partners setting up offshore accounts. Found everything. The prosecutor went pale. Sarah Chin stood up. Your Honor, we need to reopen. You need to arrest the right person, the judge said. 6 hours later, Jason Barrow. Handcuffs. Federal custody. Carol Thompson. Charges dropped. Free. She stood outside the courthouse, still shaking. Tom walked up. Why'd you really call the FBI that night? Carol pulled out the original receipt. The crumpled Starbucks receipt from the trash. Because on the back, she said, showing him. Jason wrote a note to himself. CT frame complete. Activate if needed. He'd been planning to frame you the whole time. For 14 years. And the second I found evidence, he activated it. But he made one mistake. What? Carol smiled. Tired but real. He thought invisible people don't have friends. But Tom, you saw me. Every day? For 14 years. You saw me. She walked away from the courthouse. Free. Visible. And finally, after 14 years, someone the billionaire couldn't erase. So yeah, she got arrested. He almost won. But the twist? The security guard she'd been kind to for 14 years was watching the whole time. Turns out being invisible has one advantage. The people who DOC you, they really see you. And they don't forget. Hit subscribe for part 2, where Carol gets her $2 million whistleblower reward and uses it to absolutely destroy Jason's entire empire. Drop green heart if you trust the FBI, or a red heart if you'd stay quiet and run. Next video coming out soon. See you there.